who's Executive Director of Talent, Attraction, and Retention, Mia Sinatra, who's Hype Program Director, Aaron Knight, who is the Hype Chair, and Kel Thomas, Hype Chair-elect. I'm happy to be done with that intro because that was like the longest one we've ever had. I'm tired of hearing my own voice here, but welcome all of you to the show. Kim, let's start with you. I know you've it's been a while, but you have been on the show before. Just tell us a little bit about your role with Hype and kind of the evolved direction that we're heading in now. Oh, we had a dog in the back here now too. A little talent and some of the talent as well that you're working on.
Sure, Brian. I've been with Hype for almost 5 years now, and Hartford Young Professionals and Entrepreneurs. We have over 4,000 members. We do over 80 events, meetings, and programs a year. We have 4 volunteer committees to really get our membership more engaged, and our main goal is to really connect young professionals in the region to the people, places, and things that matter to them. In my evolved role, we are focusing much more on attracting more professionals, young and otherwise, to this incredible region, and really hope to showcase all the region has to offer.
Now, I know that you recently went on a trip down to Louisville, home of the Kentucky Derby, right? Kentucky Derby down there in Louisville? Churchill Downs, right? Yes, yeah, I know my horse racing. So, and I know you actually did a little benchmarking down there with an organization that kind of works on this. What did you find out? Like, Louisville's probably a good model for Hartford. Similar kind of city, a lot going on there. But what did you learn? What were some of the takeaways from that trip?
That when you do talent attraction well, it really, really works. It's all about highlighting the assets, the quality of life, and the things that make your region special and putting it out there to other markets. They still don't love UConn, but that's okay, we do.
You only don't like something when it's a threat to you, so there you go. That's why basketball there. That's exciting that you went down there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But you mentioned all the programs that you do, and Mia Sinatra is one of the people behind those events, and Mia, Hype Program Director. Tell us a little bit about your role and kind of how you came to be here in Hartford as well, because you stayed. You didn't
yes.
go away. You stayed here, so you're a good testimonial for all of us.
Yes, my story is the story of many, but I am a graduate and alumni of the University of Connecticut. I spent a year after college traveling the country as a consultant, and then ended up back here in the Hartford area, live, work, and playing, and promoting the region. Great place to be, love the job, wear many hats.
Well, what are some of that? Talk a little bit about, because you play a key role, and now that Kim and me are just down the hall from my office, and you're always there's a lot of energy coming out from
yes.
you guys are always busy. You're there early. You're there late. What are some of the things that you're working on? Anything that we should be aware of? I know that Tons of Toys is now past us now. We're probably already planning that for next year. But what are some of the main programs that you're working on?
Our committees have kicked into high gear. Busy month of January, and we're starting to set the agenda for events later in the year. We have a couple exciting ones coming up. Wine 101 in partnership with Toronto, the Social Ambassadors, is producing that event, as well as a PPD adulting series hosted by our Personal and Professional Development Committee, which will be coming up in March as well. So lots going on, lots to look forward to. Encourage everyone to check us out on hypehartford.com for the latest and greatest hype happenings in the area.
It should be noted that even though I did bring up Tons of Toys, and that's December, it's still timely because I think it takes until about March to actually recover from that event, right? For a number of reasons. We won't go into too much of that right now, but let's get into what's kind of going on with Hype currently right now. Aaron Knight is Hype Chair, and Aaron, I know how persuasive Kim and Mia can be. I know that you have a full-time job as well, but talk a little bit about how you became engaged in Hype and why this role now for you.
Sure. My story's similar to Mia. I'm originally from Waterbury, Connecticut. Went to University of Connecticut up in Storrs. And I have been, kind of living originally from Waterbury, but working in the Hartford area ever since I graduated from college. So I've been in the area for a number of years. I guess I don't want to actually, I can't remember right now how long it's been. But my jobs have been primarily in the Hartford region. I worked for the state of Connecticut with the Department of Economic and Community Development. Previously, I was with the Department of Social Services. And basically, I was working up in Hartford. I was doing a commute from Waterbury to Hartford, and basically said I'm a little tired of that. That was before we did the changes to I-84 down in Waterbury. So I got a little bit tired of the traffic, and I ended up investing in a two-family home in the Hartford area, moved up here, and have been living here for over 7 years now. And as I work for the state of Connecticut, and I'm with an agency that just doesn't have as much turnover, I wasn't always meeting new young professionals in the area. I have friends who work for downtown employers who are investors in Metro Hartford Alliance, and that's how I kind of got introduced to Hype originally, and would go to Hype events, and that would kind of fill your calendar, go into the Get Hypes and the networking events and the social events, and then realized I kind of needed to expand my network. My core friends were the people I hung out with, and that was great, but I definitely needed to kind of broaden, step out from there. And I just decided to get more involved in Hype. Joined a committee, worked on a social committee for a year, then ended up running for the vice chair position of that social committee in 2017. Took a break from being on the executive team, and then came back and was elected as chair-elect in 2019, and I'm chair for 2020. So
well, as I said, I know they're very persuasive.
There was a lot of persuasion.
And as we talked about earlier, you guys are also very shy, and so we're really worried that we're going to have to fill 30 minutes with you guys today. We might need an hour, but that's a great. Let me ask you this to actually let me off the hook, which I'm going to go back to and ask her, even though I think I've asked her this question before. But why, you went to UConn, you decided to stay here, you're born here, now you're still here, which is great. We need talented people like you. Why did you decide to stay rather than maybe try going somewhere else and maybe giving that a shot for a little bit? What is it about this area?
I mean, the area is great. I mean, at the end of the day, we have family here. We have extended networks here. We have, I've got high school, college, and now Hartford Young Professional networks of friends that are here, and they're all here making a life, building families, enjoying the region. Whether it's going out and enjoying, with the different cities that they live in and finding social events there, or if it's, if they live in the suburbs and they're making a life and a family and have purchased homes. So for me, it's really it's a great place to connect with the people that I know and love, but also there's plenty of opportunity here, and being able to take advantage of that opportunity, whether it's professionally, having opportunities to grow professionally, and there's plenty of people who have career opportunities within the region. We have a lot of investors in Metro Hartford Alliance who are major employers, and that's important to be able to retain our talent, to be able to work in those for those employers, and that's a lot of what Kim is currently working on, and Metro Hartford's doing a great job promoting those opportunities. But there's social activities, there's culture and arts and culture. There's UConn sports. There's UConn sports and UConn championships that we have to make sure. That's why Louisville. I put my Louisville off. That's at the end of the day. There's championships here, so that keeps us. So, I just love living in the area. Love taking advantage of all that it provides.
So Kel, last but certainly not least, I know we've had some great discussions in the past about your life here and why you decided to be here. But tell us a little bit about your role. So. I guess my first question is, what if you see all the stress that from Aaron, and you decide you don't want this role next year? I mean, you're roped in, right, for next year. I mean, chair-elect. You can't go anywhere now. There's all stress. I mean, what if you're committed? Don't you want to see what he does first?
I'm bought in.
All right, you're bought in. That's a good thing. So tell us a little bit about what your role will be this year, and kind of your Hartford story as well. What you do and how you kind of got engaged with Hype.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. First of all, as chair-elect, I looked at my role as more of a team builder. We have the chair and the vice chairs, and they run a lot of the operations in the strategic side of things. And I like being that glue, making sure everything's okay, and working on team chemistry. I first started out in the Civic Engagement Committee because that's what spoke to me. I like policy and I like engagement, and that's what that committee focuses on. But I'll back up a little bit. I'm originally from Gainesville, Florida. I'm a transplant. I came here because of opportunity. I went to undergrad in New York, and then I spent some time active duty military service in the Army for 5 years. And then I came here, and when I first got here, I was actually in the Connecticut National Guard, and I spent a few months in Waterbury.
Okay.
Before, right? It was just a few months before going to Middletown. Then after law school and business school, I had an opportunity, and I joined a small law firm here in Hartford, and now I work for The Hartford as an investment attorney. And I'm here simply because of time and opportunity. I had an opportunity to sit down with Representative Gilchrist just yesterday, and I told her the same thing. I said, as long as Connecticut continues to offer opportunities to young professionals and entrepreneurs, then people will stay. And I've had a great time here.
So when you talk about Gainesville, I think the Gators, they don't like us either, right, for Huskies, right?
We beat them this year.
That's exactly. That's another upset at the time.
It's not really a rivalry.
So as far as we hear that Hartford has so much to offer, and young professionals, and for everyone, there are a lot of families here as well. But I guess why Hartford? For you, Cal, and then Aaron, you can answer this as well. But why why Hartford for somebody that just graduated from UConn, for example, or somebody that's even at a school that's outside of the region? You know, they can go anywhere. So this is the chance to say why Hartford.
Absolutely, it's all based on the outreach, right? The person that contacted you, and there's lots of opportunity here that can't be gained elsewhere. As far as I like to call it the sweet spot. It's our ability to offer, I would say, big city opportunity in a small city setting. That closeness. One of the things that really attracted me, or still attracts me, to Hartford in this region is the people. Right, you have some really passionate people here, and you can find a team to develop whatever you need. Especially for someone like me, where my family's in Florida and I left my military community behind a little bit. You never really leave them, but physically, I'm not in there anymore. I was able to build teams or pockets of people to help me where my family's not here. So I would say opportunity here because Connecticut has it. The Hartford region has it. When you look at all of our strategic partners with the Metro Hartford Alliance and the manufacturing jobs we have here. So there's a good reason for people to come and to stay. But mainly I would say the people here, the teamwork and the passion that they show.
So I want to ask you this as well, and then I want to ask Aaron as well. But so from a business side of things, there's business and then there's personal.
Right.
You always hear the buzzwords, the quality of life and a great place to start a family and raise a family, and a great place to work and live and earn a living and all that. From a business standpoint and from a personal standpoint, what are your favorite parts about here? Like your favorite activity, and what is it about? You work at the Hartford, we're insurance capital of the world. So talk a little bit about, break those down for us. Business first, why is it so great here? What do you love about it? Any experiences they might have, and then from a personal side, maybe it's a favorite spot in Duncan Park now, or is it Duncan or Dunkin' Donuts?
Right.
I think it's Dunkin' now, but for your those games, what do you love?
So absolutely. So professionally, and this may be a little selfish, but we keep talking about a little bit of this gap and this talent retention issue in Connecticut. But what it really means is people around our generation are really getting set to take over. I think professionally, there are lots of opportunities out there. We all work very hard on our jobs, and there's lots of room to grow and develop and progress. So professionally, business-wise, across all of our industries that help us out, there's reason to stay here for advancement. It's out there. As far as socially, absolutely what I was saying previously about the teams. I love just getting together and going exploring new things. I didn't even realize how many opportunities there were in Connecticut as far as outdoor stuff, hiking. I wasn't even aware that Connecticut offered that. I was new here. But outside of that, I also like the sporting events, XL Center, Dunkin' Donuts Park, all of that. All of those are attractions.
Well, again, there's plenty. If when you hear someone say that there's really nothing to do here, they're not getting out. They're not experiencing all that there is. There's plenty. It's actually a very vibrant, culturally diverse community. Aaron, let me ask you the same thing. Kind of similar business side of things. I know you work for the state, so you have a great job and a lot of talent to offer, and then also on the personal side, maybe you and Kel are hanging out at Yargo's games together.
We're definitely hanging out at Yargo's games
year.
together. Whether we're wearing our hype hat that day or not, we never know. But professionally, I mean, like Kel kind of covered it. We have large cities, but we also have the large city feel, but also kind of the small community feels at the same time. So professionally, I work in the economic development realm, and that means I'm interacting with people at Metro Hartford Alliance. I'm interacting with people in New Haven. I'm interacting with people with the Small Business Development Center. I'm interacting with people who are at UConn who are working with small businesses to get them up and running. So one of the great things about the state is that when people come and ask for resources, we may all have different portions of the job, but we can get the right person on the phone at any point. And one of the things when I talk to customers or talk to clients who are contacting the state of Connecticut or economic development, you're not getting bounced around. I'm telling you the exact right person that you need to speak to, and I think there's a warm handoff between different entities and agencies who are working within the region. So I know the Metro Hartford Alliance people. I know the people down in New Haven. I know the people who are doing trade in Middletown, and we all work closely together. So that's from a professional aspect and what Connecticut provides. I think that's different than other major cities. That we're all connected and we all know each other, and then that's how we can help further the state to grow and help businesses grow in the region as well. From a social aspect, I mean, Cal covered the sports teams. We talked about UConn. You have UConn men's, you have UConn women's, you have semi-pro sports, you have the Yard Goats, you've got semi-pro hockey, but you also have arts and culture. I ended up, just in the last month, on a whim driving down to Middletown to go to Wesleyan to see a cellist play with. I saw something posted and I said, I'm going to go there. It's a Friday. I'm going to go down there. Last weekend went to saw someone sing at the Bushnell. And then still was able to go, 5 minutes away downtown, have a cocktail at one of the, local restaurants. So you have those opportunities, which is great. We've got breweries. There's breweries everywhere. There's lots of events at different breweries. That's always fun. The Hype calendar, we schedule social events. This is what we're here for. This is what we're providing opportunities for young professionals in the region. So we schedule over 70 events throughout the year. When I started getting into Hype, there weren't all these other opportunities going on. So you kind of follow the Hype calendar, and that's how I learned the city. That's how I learned different bars and restaurants and locations and events. There's volunteer opportunities. There's working with our community involvement people. So overall, we all have very busy days. I'm sure all of us go from gym to work to after work event to after work event, and have to kind of schedule our days like that. So if you're looking to do something in the region, there's always something to do. I think for people just out of college or coming into the region, it's really telling them that you need to look for these opportunities. They're not always going to be on the same block or the same street every single day of the week, but there's different events at different places at different locations throughout the city and the region, and just be on the lookout for them and then take advantage of them when you see them.
You're listening to a Pulse of the Region, brought to you by the Metro Hartford Alliance, sponsored by Oak Hill. We're talking about Hype today, Hartford Young Professionals and Entrepreneurs, which is the Hype itself. I mean, you say Hype to anyone, everyone knows what it is. I mean, everyone knows what it is, which is it's an incredible brand. It's been around for a while now, and you guys have a lot of fun. You're obviously ambassadors. You're ambassadors for the region, for the city. There's a lot of serious work that goes on with what you do as well. I know you have fun doing that serious work. But talk a little bit about, and I'm going to go to Aaron and Kel weigh in on this as well, some of your goals for 2020. Please don't make Kim too nervous with any specific numbers or anything like that. But what are you looking? I mean, we're in February. Long year ahead of us here. But what are you guys looking to do? What can members and the region expect from you?
We're looking to have a great year. At the end of the day, we've got a great exec team. We have high expectations. Our execs and our chairs, we're going to be out front and center at our events. Our members are going to be able to meet with us, engage with us, and we really want to encourage our members to be ambassadors, just like you said, of the region. So we're looking to engage with new members, have them come in, learn what Hype is, and really get them excited about participating, and then encouraging them to bring their friends. So we're here, we're ready to meet new people and ready to get them excited about the region. And pretty much, basically identifying and engaging new members is really the focus for the year, which is an extension of the talent retention efforts that Kim and Metro Hartford Alliance are working on. So those are all goals for the year, and as you know, Kel and I, we're always high energy, so we want to keep that high energy at all of our events. So that's really what our focuses are for the year.
I don't think you guys are going to have any problem recruiting anyone. Kel, you want to add to that as well, because and I'll also add this question there for you, Kel, as you're answering this. But when you have a brand like Hype, which is it's such a, as I said, such a well-known brand, so highly regarded, how do you keep moving that needle on a brand that's already so strong? How do you keep enhancing it for people to keep them engaged and recruit new people as well?
Got it, absolutely. First, and I hope I'm not going too far off the beaten path, I forgot to mention something in my prior answer that's really that I'm really passionate about. This Hartford Region and Connecticut in general has a ton of nonprofits, and I really got to know the area by doing work with them, and a lot of those opportunities were provided through Hype, as Aaron mentioned, and whether it's volunteer opportunities, working with certain hospitals or certain organizations for physically disabled people, they're out there, and I encourage everyone to get involved with that. But to answer this question right here, the Hype brand is awesome. It sells itself. All you really have to do is wear it. So as soon as I mention Hype, people know about it, and if they don't know about it, they know someone who knows about it, and you just invite them along, and then once they come, they're pretty hooked. And it's a really big advantage that we're in a lot of the workplaces where you meet people. So sometimes it's an opportunity to join Hype through their workplace, and then sometimes they can just join on their own. And also it's like a recycling effect. There's new people coming into the workforce every year, and you grab those new people and you bring them along, and then they grab other people, and it has that effect. So it's probably one of the easiest brands to promote. But as far as our goals, one of my focuses is on entrepreneurs, because Hype stands for Hartford Young Professionals and Entrepreneurs. And I want to make sure that everyone feels included and involved. We want to make sure that we have a greater representation for those folks as well, because they drive so much of what we do in Hartford. I know, like, we promote and support lots of businesses around the Hartford area, and we visit them and we patronize them, and we want to make sure that everyone knows that this is a place for them too.
So I want to go back to Kim and Mia and ask you, anybody who might be listening that wants to engage in the work, whether it's the event on the event side or anything. It sounds like there's something for everyone, which I think is one of the reasons why you guys have had so much success. Is because everybody, a lot of young professionals have various interests, and you guys have a full plate of things to fill that appetite. So if someone's listening, they're either engaged already or they want to engage someone. How can someone get involved with Hype? Where can they go? It sounds like they can pretty much talk to anyone, but what's the suggestion for that?
To piggyback off of Kel and Aaron, they said it perfectly. Hype opens the door for opportunity here in Hartford for our young professionals. We just need you all to walk on through it. So to check us out, to see what's going on in the Hype world, go to hypehartford.com. Hype Hartford on Facebook, Hype Hartford on Instagram, and yes, we are on Twitter as well. Shoot us a tweet, mention us, tag us. It's where all the Hype happenings occur. And if you are a member, to get further involved, check our committee list out on hypehartford.com and shoot us an email if you want to further drill down and see what Hype's all about.
And I should also note, I mentioned earlier that we are on YouTube, and I want a special thank you also to Lisa Lappy, who is recording that for us. She does a lot of our digital media, but she does so much more on the marketing side, so thank you for that. That's a new thing that we're doing now. This is the second show we've done that, so thank you to Lisa as well. Kim, I want to go back to you, and we talk about, you're out in the community, obviously, and again, we know that you're very, very quiet and don't talk to a lot of people. Of course, anybody that knows Kim knows I'm being very facetious in a good way. But what are you hearing about? We're talking about keeping people here, and I know you're going to be working a lot on the talent side. This is going to be a huge initiative this year and going into 2021 and beyond. But what are people saying about Hartford, and what should we be saying? So we're all kind of singing the same song here.
So I'm gonna focus on the positive, and that's what the young professionals are saying about Hartford. I mean, and you heard it from both Aaron and Kel, who we are so incredibly lucky to have, and as you can see, it's gonna be a pretty good year. But we love it here, and we find the opportunity, and we find the things to do, and we're really, really excited to showcase all that this region has to offer. So if you look to the young professionals, there's a lot of buzz, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of excitement, and we're really on the cusp of something great.
So as I said earlier, I think I did let me off the hook, but I'm going back to her now because I want to ask. I think we've talked about this on the show before, but I'm going to ask you the question again as a Husky who stayed here and a West Hartford person, a fellow West Hartford person. But what kind of made you decide to stay here in Connecticut after you graduated?
I wanted to stay in a place, build a family, build a career, and an atmosphere in which I could make a big impact. And Hartford is the perfect place for that. It's ever-growing vibrancy and evolving culture. It's the perfect place for a young professional to get started, build their career, settle down, and have a family.
And we've talked about this on the show before, but we just recently, we being the Alliance, we have a very robust research department now that recently created a migration study, and by 2 to 1, there are more people moving from the New York City area to Hartford than vice versa. So that says a lot. And actually more people moving from Austin, Texas, and Portland, Oregon, to here as well. And the numbers are transparent; they're not huge, but there are more people moving from those markets here than from here moving there. So, this is definitely a narrative that we need to tell. These are always considered cool and hip cities. Well, Hartford's pretty cool and hip as well. And that being said, and Kel and Aaron, I want to go back to you on this one. When we talk about these UConn grads and all the other great schools that whether it's Trinity or St. Joe's or University of Hartford, Central, all the great schools you mentioned Wesleyan before. What's the story that we should be telling people to keep them here? You guys are very persuasive. You have a lot of energy. You're the storytellers. We're all the storytellers. What should we be telling people to keep them here after they graduate?
I think the main thing is to repeat what Kim mentioned is, we have to tell our positives. There are a ton of positives, and we know that people are out there that may have a negative opinion, but those are false narratives, and we need to rise above that as ambassadors with Hype, as ambassadors with Metro Hartford Alliance, with ambassadors of the region, as residents of the state. We should be promoting all the positives that we have to offer. And I literally was at Costco and heard two tellers telling someone that there's nothing to do in the area, and we pulled out a piece of paper. I'm like, go here, go here, go here, go here, and go here.
They said that in front of the wrong guy,
right? And people don't realize who they're saying these things in front of. There's people who are actively involved in the community that don't agree with the narrative that you continue to share. So we're out here trying to share those positives. I think that's the main thing, and seek out opportunity, as Kel talked about. there's opportunity, there's live music, there's arts, there's museums, there's sports, there's you can grab a beverage wherever you would like to grab a beverage in the city of Hartford. I mean, there are opportunities everywhere. So I think Facebook is great. We use that, and one of my friends asked me, "What do you check off every event that pops up on your Facebook within a 300-mile radius?" And I explained, well, I check it off, and then my friends check it off, and then their friends check it off, and now everybody knows what's going on in the region. So I think using the events calendar on Facebook is a really great way to get involved and follow things. So I think seeking out opportunity, telling positive stories, and really enjoying all that the city and the region have to offer really is all we should be focusing on.
So as we're getting ready to wrap up here, we're about 2 minutes, but I want to throw this out to the group, and maybe Kel, if you want to answer this or whomever. But and I love what Kim just did. When I asked about what's great about the Hartford region, rather than trying to explain away the negative, you just went right to the positive. And I guess in general, and I know this is anecdotal, although we do have research that does back it up a little bit too. But are you hearing less negatives? I feel like I've lived here for about 16 years now, and I feel like I'm hearing a lot less negatives than I used to. I hear, it used to be, it's great because we're near Boston, New York, and that means something different now. How has the narrative changed, Cal, for you? What have you? It seems like it's changing.
I think the narrative definitely is changing, and one of the things is just that it's a realization that some of the negatives that we were talking about, some of the negatives that are affecting us, are affecting the entire country. So when you peel away some of those issues and you say, well, what are the Connecticut specific issues? Well, there aren't that many. I mean, every state and every region has its own things that it needs to work on. But when I first got here, I felt like some of the things that were affecting the nation as a whole were simply being attributed to Connecticut and to Hartford because we were here. And when you look at us as an individual region or individual state, you just see all the great things that comes with being like a mid-sized city, a middle market, surrounded by all these great opportunities.
Kim, I want to leave this with you here. This is the last comment, but give me one sentence to describe Hype and one sentence to describe Hartford.
One sentence?
Yes, one sentence. Put you on the spot a little bit.
One sentence to describe Hartford is an incredible region with a lot of opportunity. And one sentence to describe Hype is an incredible organization filled with amazing people and, again, a lot of opportunity.
See, I knew you'd step up. That's why one of four.
I didn't have to do much work this whole
awesome.
show.
Hartford has Hype. Hype has Hartford. It's a great combination. It's a great team effort, just like everything else here. We talked about Hype today on Pulse of the Region. I want to thank our guests for being with us. I want to thank our show sponsor, Oak Hill, and I want to thank you for listening to Pulse of the Region, brought to you by the Metro Hartford Alliance.